Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to a report by Sin-Chu Daily, the state funeral for Iran's late supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is scheduled to begin on Saturday, with an estimated 20 million people expected to mourn over the mourning period. Ahead of the funeral, a memorial service for foreign and religious representatives was held on Friday. The Iranian Foreign Ministry announced that officials and dignitaries from over 100 countries, including Malaysia, China, Russia, and Pakistan, will attend the funeral. In light of this highly sensitive national mourning period, the Iranian military has issued a rare and stern warning to its arch enemies, the United States and Israel. Iranian commanders cautioned both nations not to miscalculate the situation or attempt any surprise attacks, declaring that Tehran would launch devastating and severe retaliation in response to any threats or acts of aggression. Additionally, the Iranian government has implemented strict airspace controls over major cities, including Tehran, and warned oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz to strictly adhere to approved shipping lanes to prevent any security incidents. According to a report by the Liberty Times, China has urged the prompt restoration of safe and unobstructed transit through the Strait of Hormuz, emphasizing its status as an international waterway. Amid ongoing negotiations between the United States and Iran, reports emerged that some European nations are increasingly willing to accept transit fees imposed by Iran and Oman on passing vessels. When asked about Beijing's stance on this potential fee system, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun responded that the Strait of Hormuz is used for international navigation. He stressed that restoring safe and free passage aligns with the interests of all global parties and that the issue should be resolved appropriately to address international concerns. This statement is widely interpreted by observers as a sign that Beijing is choosing not to blindly support its strategic ally, Iran. As the world's largest importer of crude oil and natural gas, China remains highly vulnerable to heightened tensions in the Middle East and relies heavily on the stability of key maritime energy corridors. According to JG Press, Japanese labor unions have secured an average wage increase of 5.01% in the 2026 spring Shunto wage negotiations. The final results, released by the Japanese Trade Union Confederation, Rengo, on Friday, showed that the weighted average of pay scale and regular salary hikes fell 0.24 percentage point compared to the previous year. Despite the minor drop, the results achieved Rengo's overall target of a 5% or larger increase, marking the third consecutive year that the wage hike rate topped the 5% threshold. However, the outcome highlighted persistent wage gaps. Among smaller labor unions representing fewer than 300 employees, the average pay raise was 4.69%, up 0.04 percentage point from the prior year. This figure failed to meet Rengo's ambitious target of 6% or more for smaller businesses. Rengo had set this higher goal specifically to address and rectify the widening wage disparities between small-scale enterprises and larger corporations. According to NHK, Japan's long-term interest rate temporarily surged on July 3, with the yield on the benchmark 10-year government bond reaching 2.81%. This marks the highest level the yield has touched in approximately 29 years, since May 1997. The spike in interest rates was driven by heavy selling of government bonds in the market. Investors are increasingly anticipating that the Bank of Japan will slow down its pace of interest rate hikes, which in turn has heightened expectations of accelerating inflation. Market analysts noted that the Japanese government's draft of its basic economic policy guidelines for this year emphasized the importance of appropriate monetary policy implementation. This wording was interpreted by bond market participants as an effort by the government to restrain the central bank's rate hikes. Coupled with a weak government bond auction the previous day, these factors led to a surge in selling pressure, pushing long-term interest rates significantly higher. According to UPI, the Korea Aerospace Administration, KASA, announced plans to establish a domestic low Earth orbit satellite communications network by 2035. The state-run agency intends to launch between 128 and 528 and 512 satellites to build South Korea's own version of SpaceX's Starlink network. This project, estimated to cost up to 13.2 trillion won, $8.62 billion every 5 years, aims to strengthen the country's national security, secure communications sovereignty, and lay a strategic foundation for the 6G era. Additionally, the South Korean government decided to accelerate its space exploration timeline, moving its first lunar landing forward by 2 years to 2030. To achieve this without waiting for next-generation launch vehicles, KASA plans to deploy a privately developed small lunar lander using the domestic 3-stage Nori rocket. The country also plans to launch a lunar communications orbiter in 2029 and an Earth-Moon scientific exploration probe in 2031 to prepare for expanded lunar missions. To monetize space data, the government will set up a special purpose company with private firms, expecting to generate over $1.7 billion in sales by 2034. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.